This is the first polygyny in the Holy Bible. So if no one else taught you that, you just learned it from Uncle YAHSHUAH by the way of Mashiach Assembly Ministry. So you're welcome. Now, why did the Most High ordain or allow polygyny? Now, this part of the video, we're going to discuss polygyny. Let me share my screen. Okay. Now, Sister Pizzazz, I'm not sure how to say it, sis, but she asked the question, Uncle YAHSHUAH, do you agree with Pastor Dowell regarding polygyny? Is this practice okay in this day and time? Is Pastor Dowell right or wrong? Great, great, great question. I wrote, that's a great question, daughter of Yah. It's a little more intricate than I can explain right in here. I have a video where I break it all down from my ancestors' days until now. I will be releasing it very soon. Polygyny will be in the title, so you shouldn't miss it. I do give you props for naming it correctly, polygyny. Most people don't even get that right, including some of these so-called leaders. Great question. I will make sure to drop that lesson very soon. She said, thanks for responding. I can't wait. I just can't believe how some people take this Bible and justify what they want to do. For instance, polygyny and even hairstyles. Locks or clean cut. Some men justify locks in the Bible. Some men have scriptures to justify a clean cut. Do we follow the Old Testament or the New Testament? Why did Yah come if we're going to follow the Old? You mean, why did YAHSHUAH come if we're going to follow the Old Testament? She's just awakening. She's just awakening. All right. This is a whole nother video because there's a lot in here. So first of all, I don't have to justify my hair. It's just people have a misunderstanding. I have a breakdown called, and look at my video, sister, called, does the Bible say men can have long hair or something like that? And it touches on 90% of it. I'll probably do another video to go more deeper into depth. So it's the understanding. All of our ancestors had long hair. Yeah, I remember there was a time when there was no combs, no scissors, no cutting. And if you don't do it, this is the natural hair. If we do not touch our hair and do something with Babylon or these modern day inventors invented, this is what will happen. It will just lock. And now, this is Yah's natural state for our hair. If we don't comb it, which is man's invention, or we don't cut it, which is man's invention, this would happen. So I'll address that. What else she say? Some have scripture do we follow the Old Testament? We don't, sister, it's one book. Christianity has lied to us, these religions, and try to separate the New Testament from the Old Testament. It's one book. First of all, it's more than that. It was the original covenant, that's what it's called, with the middle was the Apocrypha, the other books that they took out, with the renewed covenant, which they call the New Testament. It's one book. So that's the demon Hasatan and these religions trying to separate the New Testament from the Old Testament. And then you see why did YAHSHUAH come if we're going to follow? He said, none of the laws are done away with until heaven and earth pass by. That's what YAHSHUAH came and said, letting you know none of the laws in the original covenant are done away with. He just came to refine it and to make it easier for us to do and to be the way, the truth, and the light to show us how to keep the laws in the covenant. There is no law done away with until everything is done with, till we go home after the judgment. That's what YAHSHUAH said, what they call Jesus. So you don't choose, do I follow the Old Covenant or the New Testament or the New Covenant? You follow both. It's a Bible. It's a book. You don't separate the book. That's how Satan did that. It's one book, sis. And I'll go into deeper in that in another lesson. All right, let me get to your polygyny. So first of all, you said it right. She said polygyny. Guys, all of these people, even these leaders, be saying polygamy. That lets you know that they really don't know what they're talking about. That really shocks me when I hear some of these ministries that be going against polygyny, right? But they be saying polygamy. like what's his name? Pastor Kelly did it with all those subscribers, all those years as a Christian pastor, and you still saying polygamy. I'm like, polygamy and polygyny are two different things, guys. Polygamy is the act of having multiple wives or multiple husbands. Polygamy, the man can have multiple wives, he's a polygamist, or the woman can have multiple husbands, she's a polygamist. That's polygamy. That's not biblical. It's not even in the Bible. Polygyny is in the Bible. Polygyny means only a man can have multiple wives, not a woman. That's polygyny. That's in the Bible. That's what the Most High allowed, what I like to call made a compromise for. Okay, so we're going to explain polygyny. So we're going to do that. Let me stop share. Let me bring myself so y'all can see me bigger. Okay, shalom. All right. So is polygyny allowed today? I'll get to that next. First, let me explain why Yah allowed polygyny. First of all, in Genesis, let me do this. Where is it? Polygyny first started with Cain. Cain was the first murderer. Cain was what I believe the first person to be spiritually born under YAHSHUAH. As if when YAHSHUAH told the Pharisees, you are of your father, the devil, Cain's father was the devil spiritually. Remember, we are to be born again. We can either be born again in truth or born again in lie, born again in good or born again in evil. But you will be born again. I've been born again in truth, so I'm born again in Yah. Cain was born again of YAHSHUAH. That's why he committed the first murder. And Cain's descendant continued the murder. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Very good point, Yah. Yah wants y'all to understand. Cain's great-great-great-grandsons, whatever, Cain committed the first murder, and his line, his great-great-great-great-grandson, Lamech, also slain a man. His great-great-grandson, Lamech, was also the first polygynist. That lets you know, because Yah had original covenant with us in the garden, and that original covenant was one man, one wife, and the two come together as one. His original law for us. His original law also for us was that we shall only eat from the herb of the ground and from the fruits of the trees. There was no flesh and blood. There was no killing. That's his original covenant for us. So everyone who want to go against polygyny and saying it wasn't Yah's original plan for us, you are a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite because you cannot pick and choose the scripture. If you want to go to his original covenant from the garden and say he said man and woman shall have one man and wife, yes, that's true. That's the original covenant. Then you can't go forth and say, well, I can eat flesh and blood because of the dietary law. That was later. That ain't his original law. The same way that he made a compromise for our wickedness, letting us eat flesh and blood, that dietary law, it's the same way he made a compromise for our wickedness, wanting to have multiple wives. Yah compromised with us. Doesn't mean he wants us to stay in this sin, in these errors. Okay, so he compromised with us. Remember, in the wilderness, our ancestors was fiending for flesh and blood, murmuring against the Most High, not satisfied with him giving them manna, angel food. And he said, I'll give you flesh and blood till it come out your nostrils. and he made him eat it to death. He's not okay with the flesh and blood. He wants us to go back to his original covenant. That's why Uncle YAHSHUAH says, go back to the garden. I'm the only man of Yah that said this, ever. Don't forget it. Going back to the garden, his original covenant. So that means I ain't eating no flesh and blood, and that means I am not being polygynous. One wife, Yah willing, when he brings her to me, and we will become, the two of us will become as one. That's it. Original law, statute, and commandment. His original covenant for us. Not after Eve and weak Adam brought sin into the world and then death. And she had the first son, the third person on the earth, murdered and killed. And then he had to make, then they desire flesh and blood because killing and death is brought into the world. And his son, the descendant of Cain. Look at this. Now, we about to learn something. All of you guys are about to learn something that I ain't heard no one ever teach this. Listen to this. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And that's not Enoch. That's not our righteous Enoch. These are Cain's descendants. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mahuel, and Mahuel begot Methuselah, and Methuselah begot Lamech. That is not Noach, Noah's father. Again, not righteous. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. This is the first polygyny in the Holy Bible. So if no one else taught you that, you just learned it from Uncle YAHSHUAH by the way of Mashiach Assembly Ministry. So you're welcome. Even for those who are in polygyny, I probably don't even know where it started from. Lamech, one of the grandsons of Cain, took 2 wives. First, look later. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding and a young man to my hurt. He killed just like his great-grandfather Cain. Murder, following after wicked Cain. So that's letting you know that these 2 wives, the stuff is not righteous what he took on. Now, you just learned where the first polygynous relationship came from and who it came from. Cain, the descendant of Cain. Not of Seth, Adam's righteous son, or Abal, who Cain killed, the first murder, Adam's righteous son. No, but Cain. Now, why did the Most High ordain or allow polygyny in our ancient days? This is some understanding that you probably never heard before. And all listening, you're very welcome. Thank you, Yah, for teaching me and giving me this understanding. Polygyny was very important in our ancestors' days. Number one, it was very important because we had to go forth and multiply. It would make it, remember, there's a time frame that he needed us to go forth and multiply. The man has a seed that never dies. A woman's procreation period is limited. In our days, I think it's limited to like 50 years now, 50, 60 years, something like that. Well, they still having babies at 40 now. But back in those days, our ancestors lived for over 900 years. So that means her gestation period, her ovulatory period would have probably been up until 700 years of life, something like that, if you compare it to the lifespan of 100 years, 60 years or so, something like that, 40, 50, whatever. So it would probably have been around 500, 600, maybe 700 years that she would have been able to have children. But the man, till now, can have children until his death. Right now, if the man's 100 years old, he can go right into a woman and have a baby. Back then, if that man was 900 years old, he can go right into a woman and have a baby. Yah ordained this for men to be able to procreate this earth. Okay, listen clearly. A woman can only have one child a year. So that's one child that's going to be born every year from this woman. But a man can have as many children as he wanted in a year. Think about it. He can have more than that. I was going to say 365 children in 1 year if he had sex with a different woman and got her pregnant every day of that year, or 364 if you want to do the correct term of the biblical years. Do you see the difference? A woman can't. She can only have one, and then she has to get pregnant. So if he has multiple wives, 5 wives, he can have 5 babies in that 1 year instead of one. See the difference? Going forth and multiply. So Yah gave a compromise for it because he needed for us, for creation to go forth, be fruitful and multiply. Now, that is not the only reason. So relax, especially all of those who, I don't really care what y'all think. I'm just telling what the truth is. You can do with it as you may. All right. And I already told you, I am not going to be polygynous because I am going back to his original covenant. All right. Now listen, unless we get to that time and day where Yah ordains it again, saying it's necessary. If he calls me to, then of course I'm going to do whatever he wants. But I'll get to that. But for my wife out there, don't worry. I'm not trying to be polygynous. I'm doing Yah's original covenant. Okay. So, all right, listen closely. In our antiquated days, we had something we were tribes. And we were tribes and we were called by names. Our household was called by a name. My name is Uncle YAHSHUAH ben Yahu Shembaya, right? So my family name would be Shembaya, right? So my house will be called the house of Shembaya, and I'm from the tribe of Yahudah. So in my house, my camp, my stead, it's the house of Shembaya. So my wife is coming in my name. My children are coming in my name. That's why when you get married, you take on the name of the man. You come in the name of his household. That's Shema. In the Hebrew, the name is important. Everything is important in Hebrew. The name. That's why you cannot change the name of Yah to know God and Lord, or change the name of YAHSHUAH to know Jesus and all these other wicked Azus and all that. You can't do it in Hebrew. Because in Hebrew, every letter means something. So the name is very important. So the family name, when you go out, you're represented by that name. So if your wife is out by the well or out trading or doing something, they know that's such and such, her name, from the house of Shembaya. And then they know that's Uncle YAHSHUAH's family wife. She come in the house of Shembaya. She's covered by me. Because in those times, it was very dangerous. You had enslavers, you had vagabonds, you had murderers, you had people running around raping. It was very dangerous for a woman to be out in the society without a name, not coming in the household of a name, not having a covering. That's a covering. It wasn't now where these women are working in these corporation jobs, going to college and providing for themselves. I don't need a man. It wasn't like that. This was the Torah. Everything was in Yah's structural order. It was patriarchal. Women did not have money to provide for themselves and all this. They needed to come under a man. They needed to be married to a man to have a covering, not just for finances, but also for protection. You did not want to be a woman caught out there with no name, no husband, not coming under no family name. You can get enslaved, raped, stolen, beaten. It was dangerous for you just to go get water from the well or anything. Very dangerous. You could starve to death. Understand? You couldn't even eat. You wouldn't even have food. Very bad. So you're learning why polygyny existed. So polygyny was very important for the woman to be covered. Let me give you an example. We're in the antiquated days. Now, y'all gave laws about it too. The man could not just go out and see a woman and want to marry the woman or bring an extra wife home without letting his first wife. Your first wife is the first one you marry. She has to know that you want to marry another woman, and she literally has to approve. Okay? She has to approve. You just can't bring some ratchet hoochie in and going to introduce this into her life and disrupt the shalom of your home without her approval, because you're going to bring chaos into your home, and that is not of Yah. Yah is not the author of confusion. So everything was in structure and in order. It wasn't that where you just come out and want to bring any type of strippers home or anything. It wasn't like that. It wasn't unrighteous. Listen. So I'm gonna give you an example, because it wasn't even about sex. Understand? Your wife could go find, they call them maidens, or a single woman out, and want to bring her in your household under your covering of your family name. But I would have to approve too. See, it's both ways. She couldn't bring a woman home and want me to give her my family name and marry her, and I don't approve. I have the right to refuse, and she has the right to refuse. Now, let me give you an example. A lot of the polygynous relationships came from the wife wanting to bring another woman in. Let me give you an example. Your wife is going to the well every day to fetch water and stuff like that, or going to the market and stuff like that, or going to whatever she's doing outside of your homestead. She's seeing this young damsel or maiden, okay, whatever. You and your wife are 40. This woman might be 25, 22, right? Young woman. Let's just go and say that. Or she could be older. It doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, it's usually whatever. It don't matter. Because you be older woman, young. It wasn't age, because it wasn't always about sex. You're going to understand. I'm going to clarify to you so you all can have understanding. So she's going to the well all the time. She sees this young woman at the well all the time. She knows this young woman is not covered by no household. She's not married. She don't come in no one's name. She's starving. She's probably got raggedy clothes. She's rough out there. She's hiding every night. People want to enslave her, rape her, kidnap her. She befriends this young woman. She realized this is a good young woman. Like, this woman needs a covering. She might go to well one day and break up some people coming asking about the woman, finding out she don't come in Shabaya's name. She don't come in the Tubal's name, the name of Ephraim's name, Manasayama name. I'm just naming these households, these camps, homesteads. She's coming in nobody's name. It's known she's uncovered. So these wicked men are praying. So your wife could come there and save her one day. She could have been entertaining. I need to come ask Uncle YAHSHUAH if he would take her for a wife, because we need to cover this woman, because it's going to be a time I come and she's going to be kidnapped or dead. And she liked her. So she been thinking about saying something to me, but she know I'm not really willing to take on another wife. Let's say we already got 3 wives, or she could be the first one. This could be the first, second wife. Let's do that. Let's make that better, right? So I could be not willing to take on a wife, just not my thing. I'm not interested. I'm keeping my eyes to myself. I ain't looking to see no damsel in distress who I can save. And I'm satisfied. I'm not looking for no sexual partner or nothing. And so she's hesitant to come tell me about the woman that she's been befriended at the well. But when she stopped this like rape from happening, she brought the woman home because she like, I can't leave her again. If I come back tomorrow, she might be dead. So she comes to our homestay, our camp, and she's probably nervous because she know I don't want another wife. So she comes and she's like, honey, I gotta ask you something. I'm like, Shalom, what is it? What's wrong with you? First of all, because I pick up on stuff. What's wrong with you? I don't know how you're gonna take this. Nah, me, I'm like, oh, what's wrong? What happened? No. All right. I know you don't want another wife, but you're a really good man. And you're a provider. And you follow Torah. I befriended this young maiden. She's a really good woman. I spent a lot of time. She's in danger. She's in danger, honey, my husband. She might call me Unc, just like everybody call me Unc now, right? And I'm like, I do not want another wife. No, I'm saying, please, baby, meet her. I'm not sure if we pulled her back out on the street, she might be dead tomorrow. Because then did she tell me the scenario of all the time? And the young maiden is sitting outside the, door. And she tell me about her attributes and how she just saved her from these men. And I know, yeah, they're probably going to come back and she's probably dead by the morning or stolen into slavery or something. And she's like, just please meet her. If the Ruach tells you no, then of course I have to listen to you. But just give her a try. And I might say, you know what? If you really feel that way, I love you. I'll do it for you. But I'm not going to give her conjugal rights. See? I bet y'all didn't know this. Y'all learning a lot. Listen clearly. None of these people taught you this. Pastor Dowell, all these people in polygyny didn't even teach you this. They probably don't even know. It's foolish people. So anyway, I have the right to say, I'm not giving her conjugal rights because I don't want to sleep with no one else but you. But I will marry her to give her our family name, and I'll provide for her. She'll be a second wife. And I know the laws regarding a second wife, you have to provide. It's another lie. People just trying to take wives for sex, and people can't even provide for themselves. Got the wives doing all the work. That is not biblical. Okay? Now, the woman who she brings to be my second wife, she has the right to refuse to marry me too, because she could be like, I know Uncle YAHSHUAH. He's one of the strongest men. He's one of the anointed men in our camp. I see him all the time, and I like him anyway. I would love to be his wife, but I want to have conjugal, right? She can be like, I like him. Now, she has the right to refuse to be married because she wants conjugal. And I have the right to refuse because I don't want conjugal. Again, Yah has laws regarding this. Conjugal means sex. I could agree, I will marry you, give you my name, and provide you, be my second wife, but there will be no sex. And she cannot go outside of me and have sex. That means she would have to be celibate forever. See, it's unbiblical. That's adultery. If she get married to me under that covenant, because it's an agreement, and then she go outside and have sex with someone else, she's committed adultery. And back then, you would be killed for it, stoned to death. It's a sin. Okay, so you're learning. Listen clearly, listen carefully. So she has a choice to make. Because let's say if I'm not attracted to her, okay? Let's say if, she's unattractive and doesn't do nothing for me. I do not want to have conjugals. I don't want to have sex with this woman, but I'll cover her for my wife. I'll give her my name. I'll marry her and give her married, do all my duties, but she does not have conjugal rights. If she agrees to that, to take my covering and take our name, she has to be celibate for the rest of her life, unless we both agree later to allow conjugal. We have that option. Other than that, she cannot. So that's a very strong decision to make. And it's by death, guys. It's not like now. If she was to break and do adultery, she can get stoned to death. Okay? This is before YAHSHUAH. This is the law of sin and death. That's what he done away with. No other laws. The law of sin and death is where YAHSHUAH and the law and sacrifices, blood sacrifices. That's sin and death, blood. That's what YAHSHUAH came to do away with. Okay. So now let's give the scenario. She agrees. She needs the protection. Her life is more important. She don't care about no conjugal. I will marry her under Yah. I can draw up a marriage contract if I want or not. It doesn't matter. Under Yah, it's a contract, right? But the bill of divorce, you have to draw up the hand to her, right? But the marriage, I can make one if I want to. Either way, you get married under Yah. It's a contract with Yah, because marriage is his covenant, not the beast, not Babylon. You're not supposed to sign no marriage contract and marry the beast. It's wicked. You're marrying a state, making a contract with Hasatan. You ain't even marrying that woman, you're marrying the state. That's why in order to get divorced, you have to go to the state to get divorced. And then they dictate what you're going to do and what you're going to pay and what's going to happen. Because you ain't marrying her, you're marrying them. Foolish people. You're learning a lot now. Marriage is Yah's original covenant. They have nothing to do. And Adam and Eve, they ain't have no marriage contract. They ain't go to no Caesar to sign no paper. Later, a contract came about because our ancestors did it. And that was to their election if they wanted to or not, to be able to have a contract and present it. But there's a divorce decree because Yah doesn't believe in divorce. And they give laws regarding it. You see? Even if you marry another nation, not the 7 nations, not the Nephilim seed, Hittites, the Canaanites, the Amorites, not the 7 nations. But if you married outside, these laws regarding, you marry Gentiles outside of YAHSHUAH, different laws regarding divorce. We'll explain that in another lesson. I'm too tired to go through it now. So this sister agrees, I'm getting hot now. This sister agrees that she agrees that her life is more important than some conjugal. So we get married. Now she's coming under the name of Shembaya. So now when she goes to the well with my first wife, or she goes out, they know she's covered. So those vandals, vagabonds, wicked men, enslavers, they know they got to answer to Uncle YAHSHUAH if they mess with this woman. This is my wife, my family. That's polygyny, biblical polygyny. Now, another scenario. I can see a wife, a woman that I'm really attracted to. And I really like this woman. She's a good woman. I come to my wife and say, baby, I know I don't ask you for much, but I think this woman will be an addition to our household. Just trust me and meet her and tell me what you think. My wife, if she really loved me, this is biblical, and she really cared, and we had that serious, real relationship. See, we ain't talking Babylon, where you've been conditioned the way Babylon has conditioned you to be very, very selfish. It wasn't the same thing. And she'd be like, you know what? I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I love you enough and I trust you enough. Let me meet her. And she meet her and she'd get her along. She's like, she's nice. I like her. You know, yeah, I might not mind her. We could use the help with the babies, the help in the house, strengthen our family, extra eyes to look out for protection, because we take shifts sleeping, watching for vandals and stuff. Extra addition to the family to do more cooking and sewing while we do other, because women work. They had, they sold real estate and stuff. They did things, made clothing. It was to strengthen the family unit. And she's like, so will it be conjugal? And I'm like, yeah, I like her. We need to have more children. We need to grow our family. It was actually biblical, guys. It wasn't unrighteous. And she might be like, yeah, that makes sense. Some of them had 2 and 3. We come from polygynous relationships. Our grandfather Jacob, Abraham, all of them, David, all of them. That's where we come from. Y'all allowed it because it was necessary. It was necessary for provision, for protection, and to go forth and grow our bloodlines. So I would grow the Shemaiah bloodline. You would want sons so you can keep the name going on. The more sons you have, the more children you have, the stronger your family, the more workers you have tilling the ground. You see? So when you got 20 and 30 children in your family, you got all, you were rich, like Abraham and them. You were successful. It wasn't modern day Babylon where we leaving the kids and taking them to the B school system and giving them the babysitters, or she going to this way, I'm going, this ain't what it was. So now you understand it was necessary. We might come together and be like, oh, we need to take this woman in. You know, my wife and her, like, we really didn't want to take, let's say we got the 4 of us. I got 3 wives. Remember, it's not just me. So those are her sisters. So our family is 4, it's me and 4 women deep. We got a bunch of kids. We're strong. We got shalom. We might not want to take on nobody else. But me and my first wife, or whatever, all of us are out, and we just keep seeing this woman and she's in danger. And then the other wives are like, we know you didn't want to take on her. We didn't want to, but we got to bring her in. She's a good woman. She's in danger. Do y'all see? That's why. She's starving. She's going to starve to death. She's weighing 50 pounds. She's got maybe 2 more days before she falls out dead from not eating, because she has no covering and no way to make money and no nothing. See? It was for a righteous cause. It wasn't for sex. That's unrighteous. No one was doing polygyny to have multiple sex perversion. It's unrighteous. That's what polygyny was, guys. And that's why y'all allowed it. It wasn't his original covenant, but it was a compromise. And we end up needing it to go forward. So he ordained it, and he gave us laws regarding it. Now, I'm going to read some scriptures regarding it. Receipts, guys. Guys at home, Just, you can bookmark this and then find the scriptures. Exodus 21:10. If he takes another wife to himself, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, or her marital rights. Understand now, this is the law that the Most High is putting out for guys to think polygyny is unlawful. Yah gave laws regarding it. If this man takes another wife unto himself, he did laws because our ancestors were wicked, guys, and they started to abuse polygyny as well. And our ancestors started abusing polygyny, looking at foreign wives. When they would go to war and they would see all these beautiful, exotic other mixed nations, and they would want to take conquer the place and take their wives. So Yah gave laws regarding that, because they would use them up and didn't want to send them away. And he like, nah, y'all not going to be abusing these people. So he gave laws regarding this polygyny. He said, if a man takes another wife to himself, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, or her marital rights, meaning this woman has rights. So you cannot take a second wife or a third wife, and now you want to treat the first and second wife all good, sending them out to eat or taking care of them, but the third wife, you don't want to feed her the way you feeding them. You can't diminish her food or her clothes. You got to treat her equal, or her marital rights. You're talking about conjugal rights, if that's in your agreement. You cannot. You have to take care of her conjugal as well, if that's in your agreement when you first came into it. See, Yah has laws regarding polygyny. Deuteronomy 21:15-17. If a man has two wives, the one he loves and the other he don't really love, and both the loved wife and the unloved wife both bear him children, if the firstborn son, which is important in scripture, belongs to the woman that he really don't love, the wife he really don't love, then on the day when he assigns his possessions as firstborn, as inheritance to his sons, the firstborn, he may not treat the son of the wife he loved, as that son is the firstborn in preference to that son of the unloved woman who is really the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the true firstborn son of the woman he don't really love by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For this son is his first fruits of his strength. The right of his firstborn is his. Y'all said, I don't care if you don't love this wife, you shouldn't have married her. See, Yah's giving just, as you see, he's saying, no, you ain't going to treat your second or third or fourth wife any different from your first wife. Just because you don't love her no more, well, you shouldn't have married her. And you can't divorce her for that either. See, there's laws, guys. Isaiah 4:1. Now, this is a prophecy. This is very important, guys. Listen carefully. And 7 women shall take hold of one man in that day, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by your name. Take away our reproach. This, guys, came after the daughters of Zion were haughty, right? And this is when Yah cursed their head and made them bald, because they were feeling themselves, they were disrespectful, they were haughty, and they went through a curse. And after that curse, he was saying, and this day, because they was going through it, that's when 7 women will take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread, wear our own clothes, just let us be called by your name. What I told you earlier, it was the name. They're saying, just let Uncle YAHSHUAH, just let us be called by the name of Shembaya. Come in your name. Take away our reproach, our sin, we out here uncovered. Cover us. In that day, because YAHSHUAH was going through a troubled time for their wickedness in that day. So Yah said, in that day, for you haughty woman who feeling yourself, oh, it's all about you. We Jezebel spirits. I don't need no man. He said, in that day, 7 women would take a hold of one man. You're going to need a man then. Y'all know that's a future prophecy. That's why at the beginning of this, I said, I'm going back to the garden and I will be polygynous. Just to my future wife, only if in this future prophecy day that Yah said in that day, because it's coming. When Babylon falls and all those uncovered women, we're going back to those days, guys. And those women seven women are going to be trying to cleave to one righteous man. Because remember, these men ain't righteous and they ain't prepared. So they're going to be wanting to be covered and come out so that they can be covered, because they're going to be killing and murder just like it was in the streets. So now if in that day, when that day comes, if Yah says to me, my son, you are covering, you are to take in, then my wife will know too. So don't feel bad, huh? Baby girl, whenever well, she's going to know anyway. But I don't want we're not going to have no other wives unless, and when that day comes, it won't matter because it's not about sex. It'll be about a covering to bring them into our home to cover, because we're going to be locked in and all that. It ain't about that. It's to take away their reproach. Because I only want to be with my wife. I don't need a bunch of women. I need one woman. When y'all bring my wife, I'm going to love her so much. I don't want to be with nobody else. I love her. Now, if we have to cover somebody else, then they'll cover, but it will be non-conjugal. They'll have to agree to that. Otherwise, I can't cover you. So there will be a day where polygyny will be, again, necessary. Now, is it outlawed now? It don't say in the scripture what Yah said is outlawed. I don't care if you agree or not. But Yah has stipulations. The man has to be able to take care of them. And their life can't diminish. You have to take care of them equally. These men are trying to marry these women for sex. That's unlawful, unrighteous. These men, some of these can't even take care of themselves. They got the woman so they can work extra jobs. That's unlawful. That's not polygyny. Now, if a man is righteous, let's use Pastor Dowell for instance. If Pastor Dowell was not under these demons he's under, and under this alcoholic demon and this profanity, and he was have his homestead, what he was doing, and in righteousness and spirit and truth, you can't tell that man he can't have multiple wives. Not that man, because that man could provide. That man, if he was righteous, if he wasn't under these demons, and he have all he have, you taking these women in and building them up in Torah and giving them covering, he can have his 3 wives. It's not unbiblical. Y'all got to come out of Babylon and understand, yes, men are perverting it. They started perverting it back in the days. That's why y'all gave other laws regarding marrying a Gentile, regarding when you can divorce them, how you can put them away, what you going to do. Even blood sacrifice. They was finding loopholes in the blood sacrifice so they could do sin. If you rape a woman, it'll cost you 5 bullocks, 2 sheep, and 3. They start saving up the bullocks and sheep so they can go rape a woman that they've been eyeballing. That's why he done away with the Levitical, blood sacrifices, because our wicked ancestors. And we have them same wicked ancestors here. So yes, they are perverting it. But I can't, like the brother Nubreed, he's polygynist. I don't know. I know he make a lot of money because he has a huge YouTube. So he apparently can provide for his wives. I don't see none of them complaining. Now you ain't supposed to be wicked. You can't be, I don't know, Pastor Dowell just got a spirit over him. All that fake masculine abuse, that ain't biblical. If I wanted polygyny, if I desired it, I would be a good man to have multiple wives because I'm a just, honest, good man, and I'm a provider. I bust my butt. I work 10 days a week to make sure we straight. But they will be straight. They will be poured into and taken care of. It's just not, I just only want one wife. That's just me. So that's your answer to your questions. Yes, they're doing it unbiblically. Yeah, they're on there trying to find multiple. This fool can't take care of his dog on self. They just want to have orgies, basically. But I've seen a lot of polygynists successful. They're doing their things. While y'all sitting up there judging, they straight. I'm telling you facts. Do your research and watch. They got multiple incomes coming in. They got the kids to homeschool. They got food. They doing their thing. I see it. I'm like, okay, I can see why y'all ordained this. But what Babylon got you doing? Single, alone, struggling. You're giving your kids over to the beast. Giving your kid. What's better? That or having a family, an extended family, right? A polygynous household under Torah, whereas the kids are being homeschooled. You getting the home cooked meals. This one got gifts and skills. You bringing in. Y'all able to grow and multiply and invest in things. You're growing. You're straight. They ain't stressed. But you talking against it when you don't even understand it, right? And I'm not for or against. Understand? I'm just real. I can only tell the truth. I'm going to bring you the truth. Do with it as you may. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Right? But you talk about it, but you sitting up there, your man cheating on you. See the difference? Or you cheating on him in adultery. You see? Or you leaving because of money problems. The kids are going here. They turn into little demons. You get going here and you working all day here. He working. I don't even see each other. Your life is hell. And you want to talk about these polygynous ones because there's some righteous polygynous marriages. Do your research. Go on YouTube and watch them. They got YouTube channels and some of the Hebrews too. We got Hebrew channels. You can watch them all through and it's like, wow. And it's so unselfish. Those women learn to be unselfish and they love each other. They're like sisters and they all love their husband. I don't know. It's just, I seen it when I was like, okay, I see why y'all. It's actually a beautiful thing when it's done correctly. Now, of course, with anything you can do it in sin. So is it okay today? Yeah, he didn't do away with it. Show me where he did away with it. He didn't. And this future prophecy is going to come back. If y'all don't think it's going to come back, you are a fool. Listen, Uncle YAHSHUAH, right now. It's going to be a day when 7 women, I don't care. I know you got people trying, that don't mean 7 women take hold of one man. They save it. In that scripture, he was talking about they needed a covering. Read Isaiah 4:1 and go up some scriptures and read what he was talking, what happened to them. It is coming in these days of Noah. It is coming. Don't listen to them. Don't listen. I know. So in that day, the women are going to be running to and fro looking for someone to take their reproach, for a covering, to come in a name, to be able to enter a household of protection, a covering. You'll see. It's coming. So for those who are in polygynous relationships, and it's righteous and done correctly, I mean, it's not against the law. That's like saying for those who choose to eat clean meats, right, from dietary law, not this wicked, unclean meat you buy from Walmart that the beast made. It's all unclean. You're lying to yourself. I'm talking about you got a cow in your backyard that you raising from birth and you giving it grains and all that organic foods. It's clean. Now, if you choose to eat that, I can't judge you on it. Y'all didn't say it's unclean now. Well, he didn't say you can't eat the meats now, right? He gave his compromise after sin was brought into the world, and he allowed clean meats to be eaten. But that meat y'all eating ain't clean. You ain't raising Bessie or Chucky the chicken. And I don't think chicken is clean, period. But anyway, we ain't about to go down that avenue. But either way, you ain't raising none of the lamb, slaughtering some doggone lamb at some Passover. Y'all said, I abhor your feast days. Y'all don't even know what that means. That's coming. Just taking that nasty lamb. You ain't even kill it correctly. You ain't raised it. The beast raised it. Foolish people. It's all unclean. You're in sin eating it. You don't want to realize it because you desire flesh and blood so much. But now, if you raise Bessie or that lamb and you did it according to Torah, killed it correctly, as I'm going to show in the lesson that I got coming about the food, then I can't judge you because y'all's compromise still stand. Just like he didn't say polygyny is over, he did not say eating his flesh and blood is over. So the dietary law still stands and polygyny still stands. Me, I'm going back to the garden, his original covenant. I'm called his original covenant. I know I'm not eating flesh and blood. I don't have the desire of flesh and blood. It doesn't please Yah. Sorry that you think it do. It's a lie. And that sweet savor was not meaning he's smelling the burning flesh and he think it's sweet. Y'all just don't know the Torah. Y'all don't know how the Hebrew spoke. He just meant the act of them doing it was pleasing to him because they're trying to keep the law that he set forth. That's what it meant. Y'all don't desire no killing. Killing came into the world from Eve's sin, and Adam weak butt followed right behind her. That's when it came in. And that's when the compromise happened, when he put him out the garden. And now we got to go back. So Ankh is going back. And all those who have ears to hear, the remnant come back home to his original covenant. That's me. And the only way that I will go into a polygynist is in that day when those 7 will take over and Yah says, I need you to cover my daughters, then I mean my wife at that moment will know. And like I said, it won't be conjugal because it ain't about sex. Remember, this going to be days when they killing and murder. So it ain't about conjugal either way. So my wife don't have to worry about that. It won't be conjugal because I ain't desiring, I ain't lusting. I'm mastered the lower self. That's why I'm celibate. I'm celibate for years. I mastered it finally. And I was a beast, but I mastered it. And I mastered the diet. I conquered. What is your leaders doing? They ain't mastered nothing. This fool, Pastor Dowell, can't even master alcohol. Yeah, alcoholic. He can't master flesh and blood. None of it, the diet. But y'all thinking he's just foolish people. But you think they're so strong. You think muscles make you strong. That don't make you strong. Your will makes you strong. What can you die to? What can you conquer? You want to show me you're strong? Conquer the appetite. Conquer flesh and blood. Show me you're strong. That's the hardest one. Look, the Gentiles are even conquering that. You Hebrews should be ashamed of yourself. That's going somewhere else. Now, 2 Chronicles 24, 1-3. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebiah of Beersheba, and Joash did what was right in the eyes of YAHSHUAH all the days of Yehoiada the priest. So now, listen closely. The scripture said, Joash, he reigned for 40 years as a king in Jerusalem. And he did what was right. So that means he was righteous in the eyes of YAHSHUAH. All the days that Jehoiada was the priest. And Jehoiada, the priest, got for Joash 2 wives, and he had sons and daughters. Do you understand? And he did what was right in the eyes of Yah. He was righteous. That's showing you that Yah ordained polygyny after sin was brought into the world. And I explained earlier why. 2 Samuel 12:8. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wives. Now he's talking to Dawid, because Dawid did something wicked. He did a sin. And Yah said, fool, David, King David, our king, man after Yah's own heart. He sinned. Yah said, you fool, I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms, and I gave you the house of YAHSHUAH and of Judah, because the 2 nations, the northern and southern kingdom, with one stick come together under David. It's the greatest time our ancestors, YAHSHUAH were one nation. I'll explain that later, how it's 2 nations, Judah and YAHSHUAH, Yahudah and YAHSHUAH, right? I'll explain that in another video. But at the time of David, our King Dawid, it was the house came together, one kingdom. And that was our most glorious time. And Yah said, and if this were too little, I would have added to you much more. He said, I gave you all the master's wives. I gave you into your arms. I gave you the kingdom. I would have gave you more. You did not have to take this man's wife, kill Uzziah's wife, Bathsheba, for her beauty. You did not have to do it. And our King Dowell almost lost his salvation. But Yah knew his heart. He was really distraught that he let Yah down. So Yah said, because of it, I'm going to kill that first son, that son that you're going to have from Bathsheba, the first son, not Solomon. And he killed the first son. See, Yah said he would have gave them much more. I gave you wives. So we're not going to play against the Most High Yah with this wicked stuff you've been taught from Babylon. Rehoboam loved Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, the 2 Chronicles 11:21, above all his wives and his concubines. Okay, and then it could go too far. That's why he said, don't marry the other nations, because you marry too many of them, they can turn you to these other gods. That's why he told Solomon, it wasn't a marrying more than one wife, it was too many, it's excessive, compulsive. And they turned him away. In Deuteronomy 25:5-10, Yah has a law that said, if brothers dwell together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the dead man shall be married outside the family, shall not be married outside the family to a stranger. You know why? Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her as his wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her, because the name was more important than anything else. The name and the inheritance, guys. You're learning, that's why I was teaching you, it's all about the name. So in the law was, if my brother died and he had no son, then I, the next in line, had to marry his wife, was required under law to marry his wife and give her a child to keep my brother's lineage going and keep it in the name. I know you think it sounds wicked, but this is Torah. You think Babylon is right because they teach you Yah is right. Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her as his wife and perform the duty as a husband's brother to her. And the first son whom she bears shall succeed to the name of his dead brother, that his name may not be blotted out of YAHSHUAH. Do you see? So you shall name him after your brother. You literally made that seed to keep your brother's name alive. And if the man does not wish to take his brother's wife, then his brother's wife shall go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband brothers refuses to perpetuate his brother's name in YAHSHUAH. He will not perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak to him and saying, what is wrong with you? You know the law of Yah. But if he persists saying, I do not wish to take her, then his brother's wife will go up to him in the presence of all the elders and all the people, pull off his sandal, the foot off his shoe, spit in his face. They added that. That's the ESV. The KJV don't say spit in his face, but do pull off the sandal, and she shall answer and say, so shall it be done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. Because if she marries off to another, then that name, she loses the name, because the name comes through the man. That's what the brothers, that keep the name and keep the brother's bloodline alive. You see? In Genesis 30:4, so she gave him her servant, Bilhah, as wife, and our grandfather, Yaakov, went into her. This is who we come from. Guys, I got a lot of them. I'll be beating a dead horse because this thing goes on forever. In Genesis, he went into Hagar and she conceived. And we sure that she conceived, her mistress was despised and Sarah said to Abraham, made her wrong because she treated him wrong. And Yah got on Sarah for that, for treating her harshly. But this goes on and on. I can just go on and on. So now you guys know. You know what Look, let me read it. 2 Samuel 12, 8 through 9. I also gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your care. This is Yah to Dowell, David. And I gave you the house of Israel and Judah, YAHSHUAH and Yahudah. And if that had been too little, I would have added to you many more things like these. Many more wives, many more kingdoms, houses. Why have you despised the word of Yahweh by doing evil in his sight? You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and has taken his wife to be your wife, and I've killed him with the sword of the sons of Ammon. Killed him with the sword of these Ammonites, these Nephilim. See, and he cursed David for it. So, now that's enough. All right. So now y'all have complete understanding of what polygyny was, what it is, and what it might be in the future. So you can't judge. If you see that this man is wanting to be polygynous because he wants to whoremonger, it's unrighteous. If you see this man can't even provide for himself, more or less 2 women or 3 women, it's unrighteous. If you see this man is in error, like Pastor Dowell, in sin, it's unrighteous. Because those wives, he lead them into sin. So now you know. Okay, daughter of Yah, Pizzazz, I forgot how to say your name. Now you have complete understanding of polygyny. And it will come back, sister. It will be back. It will be a day where 7 women are going to be looking to hold on to a righteous man. Even you, if you're uncovered in that day, you're going to be looking to somebody. I got to get in a household covering. I got to come in somebody's name. So y'all willing, all of you daughters of Yah that are listening, all you women of the Most High, y'all willing, you'll get a marriage. And in that day, you will be covered. Marriage to a righteous man. But there will be a lot. So now you guys have a complete understanding of polygyny. Praise Yah. Shalom, guys.
He adds secures and hooks us tight. A gift from Yah, eternal life. He sent his son a sacrifice to show how much he loves us. You are loved, you are loved. You are loved, you are loved. You are loved, oh, you are loved. You are loved by Yahuwah.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Bible study every Tuesday, 8 p.m. We having a Zoom Bible study. I'm gonna put email me for the link.
I'm a lion of the tribe of Judah. Say it again. You are the precious, chosen people of the Most High. You got that right.
We hope you have a good time watching our videos, and we will see you in the next video.
And we'll see you in the next video. So like and subscribe.
Our channel.
Yeah.
We are the true Hebrews, the true and real Israelites. We are the true ones that fulfill Bible prophecy and scripture.